welcome to the channel. Today we're going to do a modified walkthrough of our Grand Design Transcend Explorer 321 BH. I say modified because there are tons of videos out there you can watch for a real walkthrough. Here's the stove, here's the bedroom. But we all can watch those anytime we want. You don't need to watch that in this video. We're just going to show you some of the things that we changed to try to make this a more livable space as we full-time live in our RV. So there are cabinets on either side of the bed. We did kind of a double high stacked packing of those. I turned mine into a bookshelf. Mark, of course, has his for clothes because that would be logical for an RV. You would need some clothes. We also have a helpful light that turns on automatically when we open the doors because, as you can see, it's not very bright in there otherwise. So the light is triggered and is on for about 20 seconds and then it turns off again. But then when you open it again, it turns back on. They're rechargeable and you can just plug them in every, I don't know, 4 days before they die. Another thing we got are these bins, which are pretty much perfectly sized for that upper area above our beds. They're basically just these papery, cardboardy, really cheapo things we got from IKEA, but they work for the space, so we use them. We did get these little hanging bags from Amazon as a way to modify the fact that this ledge is a little bit far for somebody with super short arms like me. We did upgrade the mattress on the bed because the mattress that it comes with is great if you only want to spend 2 nights a year in it, and if you want to spend longer, like say full-time living, it would be nice to have a real mattress. So we got a real mattress that is a little bit bulkier and a lot more comfortable. For laundry purposes, we had these several different little tiny hanging bins that were intended to be a one-load shot into our little tiny washing machine. These aren't the most functional things in the world if you need to pack them really full, as you can see, already ripping. So if you need something that just holds a little tiny bit of laundry, they work great, and if you need something that holds like a week's worth of laundry, they don't work so well. One of the downsides of this room is just we don't have a lot of space. So like Katie said, we have clothes up top above our heads. You know, otherwise we have our closets, these little cabinets here, and you can see inside that there's just not a lot of space. There is some height, but there's really no way to put anything up there. And then there's a hanger, but my clothes, if they hung there, would just be dragging on the bottom. Instead, we have just clothes kind of piled in here with this kind of basket holding some more clothes, and then the same clothes solution that Katie has in the back. That's our window. There's one window in the room. So there's the window, the vent, and then the door. But if you don't want the door open, it's going to get very dark in here. So this room is definitely the darkest room. It would be really nice to have a window behind our heads, or, you know, just on either side of our heads, and a lot of RVs do have that type of thing, but this one does not. Charging, I should say something about that. Katie's side has just an outlet there by her nightstand, and then I have an outlet and also USB charging. Not USB-C, regular, just USB, and she doesn't have that. So there are a couple other spots in the RV where that is located, but I kind of wonder why it's not on both sides. It doesn't really make any sense. And then the other problem is if you do close this door, I mean, there is just no room to walk. I mean, just barely. I mean, you know, it looks like my feet can get through, but, you know, once my hips are trying to get through there, I mean, it's just like, it is really tight. You just really cannot get through and around the bed very well. So it's a very tight room without that door open. So here in the bathroom, we have a couple different solutions we came up with. We got these special towels off of Amazon that are very quick drying towels because, as Mark mentioned, we don't like mold. We got these baskets from Amazon as well to hold things in because there's just not, again, a ton of storage space. We have a little tiny cabinet that's very oddly shaped. We have a tiny cabinet underneath the sink that's also oddly shaped, and it just wasn't a ton of space for all of our stuff. So we got these baskets as well for things that we access frequently. The baskets come with this strip on them that sticks for some of them, and some of them it doesn't. So we found when we bought them that the first set stuck just fine and every other set we bought didn't stick at all. So instead we got a couple of these command hook clips that hold them just fine.
So the counter space on the sink is very limited. There's just really not a lot of room to put anything there. And this ledge is very narrow. You can see by the tissue box how narrow it is. And then underneath, these little counter cabinet things are very, very narrow as well. But they do fit those baskets very nicely.
We got a dog bath from Amazon that fits really nicely in the shower as long as you don't have a billion shampoo bottles on the ground. But other than that, it fits nicely in the bathroom and all the kids can take a bath in there. We did also get a shampoo, conditioner, soap dispenser thing up there so that we don't have a billion bottles along the ground. I'm sure it works just fine, but we so far haven't used it. So one thing with this Grand Design travel trailer is there is actually no toilet paper holder that comes with it. And that's probably because Grand Design couldn't figure out where they would put a toilet paper holder. Because honestly, over here, there's just towels, so why would you put a toilet paper holder right there? And then over here, it's too far away from the toilet. And so really the only place is actually on the sliding door, which is where we put it, but it is awkwardly positioned when the door is closed in the middle of the door, but it really was the only place that works. So in the bathroom we also have a step stool for the kids to use for the toilet and the sink. The step stool is also useful for me to drag into the kitchen to reach cabinets that are up high, and it's really great for the baby to use to get into things and destroy them. In fact, while we had our backs turned, working on the bathtub, he stole the step stool, went over, climbed up on the table, and ate M&Ms.
Security breach. Security breach. Security breach.
So here we are in the kitchen/dining room. The only thing we've really done here is come up with a clever bin solution for the under the bench area. And these bins just fit very nicely in through that very tiny opening, and they actually stack 2 high. We also have a high chair that folds up for travel that we use. The baby can just sit on the ground in this. It works great as a high chair. It also works great for him to use to climb up on things and destroy them.
One thing that I'm not a fan of is the carpet underneath the dining room table. This is just really not a good setup for having kids with you. Stuff goes down there every meal and has to be cleaned up every meal. And it's just why? Why is there carpet under there? Especially in a unit like this, a big unit that's a bunkhouse. It's meant to, I would assume, have kids in it. Like, that just was not a great design feature. And then there is a plug underneath the table, all right, there in the back. And it's really low and hard to get to. It'd be really nice if there was one above the table. There is not. And it is one of only 3 plugs in this entire living room, dining room, kitchen area.
Now, one of the things that we've realized now that we're full-time RVing is that our span of windows is on the incorrect side of the RV. So the side of the RV that has the water, the sewer, the electric is generally the side in all RV parks that has nothing to see. And then everything you would want to see is out the opposite side, where we in fact have no windows at all. So in general, our view out this side has been pretty crummy. We usually have a great view of our neighbors eating their food at their picnic tables or relaxing outside.
The shades are not blackout. As you can see, they are closed and you can still see through them. Yeah, this is a slide, this entire area. This is the one slide of the RV, this whole dining room and couch. The couch does pull out into a bed. It is, I think, maybe the most uncomfortable bed you've ever experienced, more so than any hotel or motel you may have ever been in. Also carpet underneath, but there is storage behind the couch, which is kind of interesting. There is actually storage underneath the couch too, even with the bed there. So even with the bed mattress, or whatever you would call this exactly, there is still, there we go, some storage space under there for some little shallow bins. So behind door number 3, I guess, is the bunkhouse, which we will show you but the performers are still getting ready back there. And in the entryway of the RV, we have
this little storage area, which we normally put cleaning stuff in. And then up here, this is where we put some school stuff, and there's actually a couple USB plugs up there as well. We have these command hooks that Mark put in just for hanging a bunch of keys. And then back here behind the TV, we actually have 2 bins that are very, very large stuck back there. This size, 2 of them deep. So it is a very deep storage area that fits a lot of different stuff in there. And then down here at the bottom is a slightly less deep shoe storage area. And as you can see, it doesn't even fit all the shoes. So one of the things we found with this fridge and freezer combination is that it does not function as a normal residential fridge and freezer would. So the fridge itself, in the very back of the upper portion of it, is completely frozen, and anything that we stick against that wall is completely frozen. But then it occasionally thaws out and then drips down onto everything below it. And this is actually, we looked it up, and it is in fact not completely abnormal. It's not like this isn't functioning correctly. It's just the way that it functions is that is sometimes a side effect of it. The freezer also freezes and thaws in waves, and so our ice cream is not as ice creamy frozen solid as we're used to. So we also got a number of different sink type things in order to wash all of our dishes without having a dishwasher. When we fill that one up, we have a twist drain at the bottom so that if we have any food particles that are left on the plates, then we can drain all of it out and the food particles are actually stuck in it so that we don't send those down the drain. Then these 2, this one is mostly just a rinsing bin. We sometimes put all of our dishes in there to dry, but this is not the most super functional one. It literally just holds water. It does have a drain system, but that within 2 pulls was breaking, so we stopped using it for that purpose. And then this one is very, very useful for drying. It actually has a hole in the bottom, and then it has this this little level thing that basically pours all of the water out. A spout. There we go. This one has a spout that pours all of the water out that collects in this so that all of your dishes are draining out, and then the water just comes out so that you don't have to have water collected in the bottom of it. So back in the bedroom, I was talking about a spin dryer earlier. This is where we hang everything that has been through the spin dryer, because a spin dryer makes it a little bit not as damp, but not completely dry by any means.
This is an Amazon product, and it's worked pretty well. It compacts up very nicely, and you can stick it outside and let things dry. We dry t-shirts on there and stuff too that we don't want to go through the laundromat dryers, because the laundromat dryers are always hot no matter what, even on air dry, I feel like. So let's talk about a couple things that we like and dislike about the RV. So the pass-through bathroom is definitely a fun one. It just does not help us out, I guess you could say.
It doesn't lend itself to full-time living necessarily, because while a pass-through bathroom in theory is nice in that it opens up the space, like you have all that extra room, anybody who's using the bathroom is essentially blocking people in, so anybody who's in the living room kitchen area can't get to the bedroom, and vice versa.
There is another bathroom though, however, and it is this little narrow guy right there. So this is kind of the kids' bathroom, even though the kids don't like to use it because it is too small, according to them. It is very narrow. You can see I'm standing in it right now. You really do have to kind of like squeeze in, and it is very, very tight in here. There's no doubt about it. But we've made it work. This is where the kids typically are supposed to, get ready and all of that. Their towels are hanging up. There are some hooks that were included, but we did add one of those baskets as well, just because again, this counter is also just very small. There is a cabinet down there. The only thing to point out is that this toilet is pretty creaky. It is plastic. The other toilet is a porcelain toilet, which is much nicer. This one is not that, so not quite as high quality in here. The skylights in the RV are nice to have the natural light, but they do get hot, so like it's pretty warm. It's just not like helpful if you don't have any way to cover it up, so I think we're gonna have to find a way to put some kind of cover on that. One thing that we do like about the 321BH is the space in the living room, dining room, kitchen area. It is definitely ample space for the kids to play. I think it's about 11 feet across once you open up the slide, which again is this entire couch and dining room table area. And so just this area in the middle of the RV is nice and spacious, and the kids enjoy that.
So here in the bunkhouse, we've come up with a few different solutions for things. On the only door that we actually have that's not a sliding door, we did one of these over-the-door hangers, and this is where we just put all of the school stuff. We have put up some toddler rails. These ones we got at Bed Bath & Beyond, and they are just simple toddler rails like you would put on a crib when your kid is ready to have some freedom to get in and out. So of note, these are not going to stop a determined child. These will stop a sleepy, rolling child from falling out of bed, but by no means do these keep a very determined baby who thinks that he's totally invincible from getting out of bed. So you still have to monitor that. Over here we have this very nice ladder. To get up on this ladder, the kids have to step onto these drawer handles. We didn't think that was a really fantastic idea because we don't think that these drawer handles are meant to take that weight multiple times a day forever. So we had originally bought a very large square ottoman for them to step up on first. That worked very nicely up until a horrendous poop accident destroyed the ottoman. So RIP ottoman, we'll get another one at some point.
This area did have a bed in it, but what we did is decide to make it a play area, just because we only have 3 kids at this time. So this is just carpet that I basically got and just cut and then adhered with some carpet tape, and it just provides a nice platform for the kids to kind of play on, and then they can look out the window and all that type of thing. So they also have bins over here with all their toys.
Now if you have slightly older kids who are in this bunkhouse, meaning kids who actually care about devices, there are various plugs and USB plugs in the area. So for these 2 bunks, they have access to normal outlets and then 2 USB plugs over here. And then on this side, this bunk has a plug down at the bottom. The bunk on the top has no plugs in, no USB plugs, but it does have a nice window, so I guess it still has some perks. Now, interestingly enough, the lighting in this room is, I mean, there is lighting, but as far as night lights go, they have a couple switch lights that they can use at bedtime if they wanted to read late, for example. But this particular one is at the wrong end, because if your kid is over here with their head over here using this light, you're not going to put this kid with their head here, because then that kid would kick them, or at least any normal kid would.
Or just smell their feet.
Or smell their feet. So consequently, we've bought a couple of these reading lights, which are dimmer too, so that they're not keeping each other up if one wants to read and the other one doesn't, or both of them keeping the baby up. So those have worked really well, and they're also rechargeable.
One thing about the 321BH that, I mean, really makes it the 321BH is this bunkhouse. The fact that you have basically 4 beds. It is an L-shaped design, so, you know, there is kind of this shared corner on both of them, but the fact that you can put 4 kids in this room is really nice. This is their own room. They technically have their own bathroom behind a closed door. So this is actually a really good design overall. If you have a larger family, or a family of, 3, 4, 5 or whatever.
One of the other things that makes this area nice is that there's actually a drawer for each kid. So there's a drawer for each bunk. So down here at the bottom, it's actually a pretty deep drawer, and you can fit a lot of clothes in there. We're not even using this space very well, but it can fit a lot of the kids' clothes. Also in this room, we have this cabinet area, which is a very, very deep cabinet area. Tough to see without our light working, but that's just a battery light, and it's out of batteries. So But this was an area that we decided to use for bookshelves. So we got this bookshelf that you can set the different levels to them, but they have a basket so that the books don't fall out while we're traveling, because a travel trailer bounces around a lot, and so especially the area in the back, things move around quite a bit while we're traveling, and so it was important to us that we had a functional bookshelf that they could always have their books organized on.
Outside the RV, we have an outdoor kitchen. So this is the space where that's located. And if I go ahead and open that up, you can see inside the outdoor kitchen. So this is our little fridge. It does not run when the RV is not connected to power. It just kind of acts as a cooler. Just usually keep extra water in there. To be honest, there's really not a lot of room. And because it doesn't stay cold all the time, if you are disconnected from power, then you don't want to put anything real perishable in there. This is just a storage area right here, and I just have a whole bunch of just stuff in there at this moment. Just a couple extra supplies and then a bunch of truck-related stuff that I haven't done anything with. This down here is actually an outdoor kind of grill, a couple outdoor burners right there that you can use. So that's the outdoor kitchen. Moving around the RV, one of the things that we did with this is have the Truma AquaGo installed. This is a tankless water heater. It did have a 6-gallon water heater before, and we went ahead and upgraded this to a tankless. It's so nice that you never run out of hot water. This does have a large awning. I can't put it out right now because it's so windy. It's just extended about 1.5 feet or so. It's nice. It does cover a lot of ground. It's very big. 2 doors, of course. This is the bedroom door that I pointed out earlier. And then right here is one of the pass-throughs. You can see inside the pass-through. It's pretty deep. It does go all the way to the other side of the RV, so it is about 8 feet deep. And that is right in front of the RV, as you can see here. We have 2 6-volt batteries. We always have enough power. Our power lasts a long time. We have never run out of electricity while boondocking, never been even close, and that's with the fridge and everything running. So, you know, it's nice in that regard. 2 propane tanks in there. This is the other pass-through doorway. So now you can see through, it's pretty deep. And then we have the water hookup here, as well as a battery disconnect and satellite cable, all that. There's an outlet here that I haven't had any use for yet. This is our sticker. GVWR is 9,295. The unloaded vehicle weight is only 7,534. For this size, for this length of RV, it is actually pretty light. This is our slide extended. You can see how big it is. That is holding the dining room booth and the couch. We have 2 different black tank flushes or tanks. And this hose has blown over in the wind, so I'm gonna have to go ahead and get that propped back up. And that is the other black tank flush, which we don't have connected right now. That toilet doesn't fill up very quickly, so really that I just empty at the end or beginning or end of every trip or stay while we're parked. We really don't need that connected. There's not really any point. We do have the tires up on the Anderson blocks, which are those, and you can see that they are working very nicely. It just helps keep the RV level, and we really enjoy these. They're very easy to use and have helped us get level everywhere we've been so far. So stabilizers underneath there, not the best stabilizers in the world. They're fine. They get loose and stuff sometimes, and you gotta mess with them. In this tubular bumper here, that's where the black tank hose goes when we're driving around. So I just shove it in that. That's what it's designed for. We did upgrade all of the tires, even the spare on this, to be the Goodyear Endurance. These are E-rated, and these tires are much better than the Westlakes that came with the RV. So we upgraded those right away. We did not want to have any chance of any kind of blowout or anything like that. So as long as we keep them aired up, these tires should be really good to go. This guy is a little wash port, and there's a little hose that you can just kind of plug in there and use to wash stuff off, although it's not very high pressure and the hose is super small or short, so not the most useful thing ever, to be honest. Thanks everyone for watching this walk around of our 321BH. There are definitely a lot of things to like and dislike about this unit. If you're a family full-timing it, I don't know that I would recommend it. I think there are too many just things about this floor plan that you may not like really going day in and day out with for a longer period of time. We've been in it for about 2 months, having had made this video, maybe 2.5 now, and I can say that we still like certain things about it, but we definitely do not like other things about it. So if you are just going on, you know, week or 2-week trips, and certainly weekend trips with this unit, and you have, you know, a larger family, this would be a great unit for you. I think that there's a lot to like about it, and yeah, I'd recommend it in that case. For full-timers, I would definitely look at maybe getting a 5th wheel, just because they're gonna have the better layouts and amenities that you might like as far as full-timing it goes. So I appreciate you guys watching. If you have any comments or suggestions, please drop them below. And we appreciate if you like and subscribe. That'll help us out. And we will address everything that you guys throw at us. And yeah, so hope to see you in the next video. Talk to you soon.